Join Kids Hat family.
Tofu, what in the world are you trying to do?
I am trying to pluck those juicy fruits from this tree.
But do you think you will be able to pluck them? They are so high.
Oh, I wish I could fly and pluck those fruits. I so wish I had wings.
To wish is not bad, but one should be conscious about the consequences. Come, I'll tell you a story. The Tortoise and the Eagle. A young tortoise was lazing around the riverbank, looking at the birds flying in the sky. He stared at them and started thinking out aloud.
I wish I could fly like those birds, up high in the sky and watch the beautiful sceneries and beauty of the world from top of the world. Oh, I so wish that.
Nearby, an eagle was sitting on a stone, listening to what the tortoise was thinking out loud, and couldn't resist but ask,
Why do you want to fly? You should be happy with what you are gifted with.
I wish I could fly with no trouble of crawling on the ground.
So say that you want to fly because you don't want to crawl, not because you wish to see the world from the sky. Anyway, what will I get in return for making you fly in the sky?
I'll give you the riches of gold from the Red Sea.
So the eagle grabbed the tortoise in its claws and soared up high in the sky, making him see all the beautiful sceneries of the world. Flying higher in the clouds and closer to the stars. It was indeed a mesmerizing moment for the tortoise. While the eagle was flying over the riverbank, the rest of the tortoise were basking in the sun. Suddenly, the tortoise flying high up in the sky said,
I wish my friends could watch me flying so high in the sky. I am sure they would get jealous watching me.
What? Why would you want your friends to get jealous of you?
I want them to see that I can fly and they cannot. It's such a nice feeling.
What an evil friend this tortoise is, thought the eagle. With this, the eagle dropped him on the ground and asked for his treasure.
Now give me my reward.
There is no reward. I was just kidding about the gold so that you could take me for a ride.
And with this, the tortoise left. The eagle couldn't tolerate his insult and decided to teach him a lesson. So the next day, the eagle went to the tortoise and said,
Hey, would you like to go for a sky ride again?
Yes, sure. I would love to.
The eagle once again picked him up and clenched him in his claws. The tortoise, while enjoying the ride, said to the eagle,
Why did you bring me again for the ride, even though I dishonored my promise of rewarding you?
That's because, tortoise, you wish to make your friends jealous, but at my cost. And now I'll let you enjoy the free fall.
The eagle let his claws loose, and the tortoise went falling down. Screaming for help and flying no longer, he crashed on the ground with a thud. Thanks to his shell, he didn't get injured. Soon, his old friends surrounded him and said,
Hey, young friend, you wanted to see the world from high up in the sky. To dream big is not a sin, but to dream it at the cost of others is just not justifiable.
I have learnt my lesson now. I should be thankful to God for what I am blessed with. It was my shell only that saved my life. I should be happy with what I have, and also should not use others for my selfish reasons. I surely have learnt my lesson.
Tia, now I know what you were trying to say. I learnt a lesson too. One should think about the consequences before one wishes for something. I should be happy with what I am blessed with. I should rather look for an alternative to pluck those fruits. Wait, I'll get a ladder. Tofu, you learn things quite fast.
Tia, today I'm very happy. I met one of my friends who was acting all greedy and selfish in class. So I told him the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and he soon understood the lesson. Really, Tofu? I haven't heard this one. I would love to hear it from you. The Pied Piper of Hamelin. Once upon a time, there was a town named Hamelin. The town was beautiful, bustling with energy and wealth. But no sooner the happiness of the town was ruined by a plague. Plague of rats. There were rats everywhere. So much so that the people of the town didn't even have a place to keep a step without tripping over the rats. There were rats of every size, shape, every age and color. Nothing worked as a remedy. Not even the cats were able to control the plague of rats. Giving up, the authorities decided to announce a reward of 10 bags of gold to anyone who could help to get rid of the rats. One day, a strange-looking man came to the town. He was dressed in their traditional dress, but all red in color. With a long, peculiar nose and big, wide eyes, he adorned his head with a feather in his hat. He went to the authorities and said, I have a solution for your problem. I assure you that not a single rat would live in this beautiful town. But I want 10 gold bags that you have promised as prize. The authorities were not very sure of his commitment, but still allowed him to give it a try as they had no other option. Soon, the strange-looking man took out a Pied Piper from his pocket and started playing a very strange tune. Within no time, all the rats started coming out and following him. From every nook and corner of the town, so many rats came out that the whole street was filled with them. Very strangely, the rats started following the Pied Piper, who was playing the strangest tune ever heard. The Pied Piper took them to the town's river and entered into it. In no time, all the rats, mesmerized by his tune, fell into the river and drowned. There were rejoices in the town, celebrations all over. Soon, the Pied Piper went to the authorities to claim his prize money. But since their work was done and they thought that this plague would never return, they shunned him off and asked him to leave without giving him a single penny. What selfish people are these? I did them a favor, freed them from such a bad epidemic, and all they could care was to be greedy and ungrateful? Now look how I will teach these selfish people a lesson. The Pied Piper took out his pipe once again and started playing another strange tune. A tune that no one had ever heard before. In no time, all the children of the town, mesmerized by the music, started following the Pied Piper. The children were so lost in his tune that they didn't realize that they have come out to the outskirts of the town. The Pied Piper took them to a cave and let them in. He kept playing the tune till all the children were inside the cave. He then closed the cave with a huge stone. Only 2 kids were left in the entire town. A boy who was hard of hearing and a girl who had hurt her legs so badly that she couldn't keep up the pace with the rest of the kids. These 2 kids went back and told their parents about the Pied Piper and how he lured all the children into the cave. Soon, the authorities went begging to the Pied Piper and requested him to let their children out. This time, they promised to reward him with 20 gold bags. I don't trust you any longer. I want my prize money beforehand. Soon, he was handed over his prize money. And he left never to be seen again. The children were freed from the cave, and the parents hugged them and cried. Watching this, the authorities said,
"We surely have learned a lesson. This man came out of nowhere and saved us from an epidemic. All that we did in return was to be selfish and ungrateful. He surely taught us a lesson of not to be greedy and selfish."
That night, the town rejoiced and celebrated like a festival. It's still said that in the town of Hamelin, if you ever go and listen carefully, you might hear the beautiful sound of the Pied Piper. Tofu, I'm so proud of you. You must be a little naughty, but you surely are a good boy. Ha 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 ha. Hey Tofu, do you want to come with me? I just saw my piggy bank has enough money to buy new books and toys for the children at the orphanage. You can help me buy and distribute the goodies.
You are going to give away all your savings to other children? How can you do that? Don't you want to buy something for yourself?
Tofu, we can't always think of ourselves. Sometimes we have to help those who do not have the same means as us. Let me tell you a story of kindness. This is a story from a long, long time ago in Nottingham, England, when Prince Richard ruled the country. His younger brother, Prince John, was a wicked prince who took care of the state while the king was away for wars. Prince John was unkind to common people of Nottingham and had no consideration for the poor. Under his charge, the rich became richer while the poor became poorer. The poor had no savior to save them other than Robinhood, or the hooded thief as he was popularly known. Robin Hood had a trusted companion called Little John. Robin Hood would rob the rich merchants and the princes' caravans that carried the huge taxes collected from the poor as they crossed the Sherwood Forest, which was the home of Robin Hood, on the way to the prince's treasury. And he would distribute the loot amongst the poor. His generosity earned him the name Prince of Thieves amongst the common people. and also many rewards that were announced by the sheriff for his capture. But this did not stop Robin from doing his good deeds. One day, when Robin Hood and his friends had robbed the prince's caravan again, the prince called the sheriff of Nottingham to the palace. "This is the last time Robin Hood has humiliated my men and me, Sheriff. What are your troops doing? Why haven't they caught that thief as yet?" "We are doing everything, Your Highness. I assure you, we will have him soon." "You should, otherwise someone else will be punished." The sheriff made a new plan with his men. He decided to announce an archery competition to be held in Nottingham, and the winner would be announced as the best archer in Nottingham and also win a kiss from the maiden Marian. One day, Robin Hood's friend Tuck came to visit him.
Have you heard of the archery competition that the sheriff has announced for tomorrow? Yes, we have, Friar. And the men and I think Robin shouldn't go to it. It is a trap laid by the sheriff. All of England knows that Robin Hood is the best archer by far. Robin doesn't need to go and prove anything there.
You worry too much, Little John. Lighten up. We will go and have some fun tomorrow. And to ensure that no one recognizes us, we'll wear disguises.
And so the next day, Robin Hood and his friends wore disguises and went to the competition. Just as Robin Hood had predicted, no one was able to recognize him. Soon it was Robin Hood's turn to shoot the arrows. He took the first shot at the bird and hit bullseye. The crowd cheered for this unknown archer. Then he took another arrow and shot it again. This one too hit bullseye. The crowd cheered louder. The cheering caught the sheriff's attention, and he turned to see what the matter was. By now, Robin had drawn his third arrow and took a shot. It too hit the bull's eye. When the fourth arrow also did the same, the sheriff realized something.
That is no stranger. That is Robin Hood. No one can shoot 4 arrows in a row like that. Grab him, men!
The whole crowd broke into a frenzy as the sheriff's men arrested Robin Hood.
Off with his head!
But Little John moved like a lightning flash and grabbed the prince and put a knife to his throat.
Release him immediately!
The sheriff's men had no choice except to let go of Robin Hood. The Prince of Thieves and his friends hollered and made their way out of the archery field, but not before Robin Hood climbed the audience tower and stole a kiss from the maiden Marian. at the Sherwood Forest, Robinhood and his friends got together and celebrated.
You were right, Robin Hood. Today was a lot of fun. The sheriff had this coming. I am sure you surprised Maiden Marian too. Well, not as surprised as the prince is going to be when he finds out that we stole 4 bags of gold from his treasury during the sheriff's archery competition. Everybody laughed heartily.
Wow, Tia, this is such an inspirational story about being selfless and helping the helpless. I am going to change my ways from now onwards. I am so proud of you, Tofu. That is such a great decision. Keep doing good deeds. That is not nice, Tofu. What if your friends find out? They will stop talking to you, won't they?
Oh no! I am so clever, they won't find out ever.
Let me tell you the story of another clever boy called Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer lived with his Aunt Polly and half-brother Sid. He was an extremely clever boy who loved mischief. But Tom also had a very good luck, which always helped him get away with the mischief he did. One day, his Aunt Polly was looking for him. "Tom, Tom, where are you?" She looked everywhere. She looked outside in the yard. Inside in the house and the kitchen. She looked in her room too, but he was nowhere. She went back to his room and called to him. "Tom, stop hiding and come out now." But there was no answer. Suddenly, Aunt Polly saw something move under Tom's bed. She thought it was Tom. She bent down and swiftly pulled the bed cover. A cat that Tom had hidden there sprung out at Aunt Polly. Surprised looking at this, she shouted, "Oh dear, where did Tom get the cat? Wait till I find that boy." Just as Aunt Polly was shooing the cat out of the window, she felt someone behind her. It was Tom trying to escape from the room. He had been hiding in the cupboard. Aunt Polly caught him by the collar. "Tom, what were you doing hiding in the cupboard? You ate all the jam, didn't you?"
No, Aunt Polly. I haven't even touched the jam. It must have been Sid.
"Don't you lie to me, young man. I can see the jam all over your face." Tom quickly tried to wipe his face, but it was too late. "Today I am going to beat you with a stick. You have become too mischievous."
Aunt Polly, look behind you.
Aunt Polly turned to see, but there was no one. It was just one of Tom's tricks. And this time he used it to get away from Aunt Polly. Because when she turned around again, he wasn't there. "Oh, this boy! One of these days I am going to punish him." Tom was so happy with himself for fooling Aunt Polly again that he decided to take the day off from school. Instead, he went to the river and bathed in it. At lunchtime, he went into a nearby farm, stole fruits from there, and ran out of there with the owner chasing behind him. Just as he was running, he bumped into Sid. Sid saw Tom's wet hair and clothes and the fruits in his hands and understood that Tom hadn't gone to school, but he didn't say anything. When Tom reached home, Aunt Polly was waiting for him and she was angry. Tom understood that Sid had told her everything. "Tom, did you skip school again?"
No, Aunt Polly. Sid is lying.
"How did you know Sid said anything to me?" Well, for once Tom had got himself into trouble. He had no answer for Aunt Polly's question. "Tomorrow is Saturday. You don't have school. You will not go anywhere. Instead, you will whitewash the fence."
The entire fence?
"Yes, the entire fence. That is your punishment." Tom had no choice. He couldn't argue with Aunt Polly. He didn't want to make her angrier, but he was angry too. The fence would take up his whole Saturday. He went into the yard and kicked at the dust. Just then, he saw Sid coming in. He quickly made a mud ball and swung it at him.
Ah! Stop! Help, Aunt Polly! Why did you have to tell anything to Aunt Polly?
Tom flung a few more mud balls at Sid and then jumped over the fence and ran away. He knew he was already punished, so nothing worse could happen now. Next morning, when Tom came down for breakfast, he was greeted with a pail of paint and paintbrushes. Aunt Polly had been serious about his punishment. So Tom ate his breakfast and went into the yard to whitewash the fence. Painstakingly, he finished a bit of it. That's when his friend Joe came up to him.
Hey, Tom. Why are you working on a Saturday morning? Working? Who said anything about working? Well, why are you painting the fence then? I am doing it because it is art. Haven't you heard of art, Joe? Well, I have, but I have never done it. Is it fun? Oh, yes, it is. Why else would I do it?
Joe thought about it. It was true. Tom Sawyer would never do anything that wasn't fun. He asked Tom if he could also try it. Tom agreed to let Joe do only a small portion of it in exchange of 3 marbles. Joe thought 3 marbles was too much, but agreed. He wanted to try art. A little while later, their friend Jim came. He saw Tom resting under the tree and Joe painting the fence. He went to Joe.
What are you doing, Joe?
It is art. I paid Tom 3 marbles to let me do it.
3 marbles?
Is it that good? Yes, very good. Jim dashed to Tom immediately and asked if in exchange of his fish book, he too could whitewash the fence. Tom feigned some reluctance, but agreed. And so it went on. Other friends of Tom came and believed that painting the fence was fun. They paid Tom in collector's cards, candies, and even a catapult to get a chance to paint the fence. By noon, the entire fence was painted and Tom was a rich boy. He hid his treasures and went to his aunt.
It's done.
What?
Unbelievable. Let me see.
Aunt Polly took Tom with her to see the fence. Indeed, it was done. And it was done very nicely. How did he do it? Anyway, his punishment is over. Now I will have to let him go. I hope he does not create more mischief. But as always, when Aunt Polly turned around to tell Tom that his punishment was over, he was already gone. The next day was Sunday, and Tom went to Sunday school. When he reached there, he saw a new girl and was smitten by her. He desperately wanted to impress her. He thought of a way he could prove himself better than the other boys. He went to one of the smartest boys in the class. And bought from him all his yellow tickets in exchange of the treasure he had earned from his friends yesterday. The yellow tickets were awarded only to those boys who had learned all the verses of the Bible. Usually, only older boys were able to get the yellow tickets. When you had enough yellow tickets, you could exchange them for a Bible. The minister asked the class,
Does anyone have enough yellow tickets for a Bible?
Nobody had so many tickets, except Tom, who raised his hand. Everybody, including the minister, was surprised. Tom was the most naughty boy they knew. How could he have learned all the verses of the Bible? The minister understood this was one of Tom's tricks, and he decided to test him.
Very well done, Tom. Please come here and collect your Bible.
Also, as is tradition, when you earn your Bible, you get to recite any 3 of your favorite verses from it. Tom was stumped. 3 verses? He didn't even know one. He fumbled. The whole class laughed at him as they understood that mischievous Tom had got into a big soup this time. Do you still think you will never get caught?
Oh no, Tia. I have to go and tell my friends the truth and apologize to them right away. For your favorite rhymes, stories, and more, join Kids Hut family. Subscribe here.